Alright, I'm not gonna lie, but Skip Bayless was the last person I ever imagined being on all the Smoke podcasts, especially after how critical both Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson have been about Skip, mainly due to all the criticism with current players, his treatment of Shannon Sharpe, and his Damar Hamlin tweet. I just recall both Stacks and Barnes being really critical of Bayless over the last couple years. That said, Skip has been on a media run after leaving FS1. He's made stops at Barstool with Big Cat and PFD and was recently on Dan Le Batard's show. So the conversation between the three kind of took a weird turn when Shannon's name was brought up. Here's that clip.
Obviously, great chemistry. You and Shannon had a great run. Any regrets on how that partnership ended for the show, and any regrets on how the relationship ended?
What did you think about the character? The Uncle Shay Shay character. He didn't come on the show doing that with the black and mild and the do-rag and Hennessy and all that stuff.
When he first started it?
Yeah, he didn't come on with that at first when he first got on the show. So when all that came about, what you think about that too?
Okay, it's better for you guys to respond to that than me, but I was still very close with Stephen A. at that point, and he did not love it.
No, yeah.
Okay, and I defer to you.
Nobody did, so we'll
right.
leave it there.
But you know what? You talk about branding, you talk about Stephen A. Smith. To be Unc was big for Uncle Shannon. And out of that, which he, I think it went away. I don't remember him doing it much over the last couple of years. I don't think he ever did it. But whatever. Unc stayed. Shay Shay stayed. So it ended up being positive for him.
Mm-hmm.
It made me pretty uncomfortable from my seat, but look, yeah, you ask about regret. I just have one huge regret. We weren't nearly as close as Stephen A. and I were close, but I just wanted us to finish together on time, because over the last year or so, I would watch what you guys have done here. I would watch what happens to me on Twitter, now X. I would watch what happens to my videos, and I'd say the audience is starting to erode on what they call linear TV shows. Mm-hmm. It's here. You guys were ahead of that curve and then right on time on that curve. And now I want to chase you guys. I want to do this because I saw it for about a year. But I wanted Shannon and I, because I saw his podcast was starting to take hold when he was at Fox, I wanted us to finish together. And I don't know, as God is my witness, I'm not exactly sure what happened upstairs, but it fell all apart and he got pushed out. And I was blindsided and dumbfounded by that, and I don't like it to this day. And I'm not a regrets type. I don't look back and say, oh, if only. But that was one where it was just wrong. I didn't, that's not how I envisioned, because our contracts were concurrent. So I knew when mine was up, I wanted to go my separate way, but I wanted us to end the way it should have ended, because, man, we had 7 really good years. Mm-hmm. We had, on just pure ratings, we had about 5 through the roof years. And that matters to me. You guys, like you guys, I don't know if you ever have any spats or anything, or you disagree on things or whatever, but you're linked for life now.
The respect doesn't change, though. Okay. We might disagree, but the respect, yeah.
But you're linked for life because you've been in this foxhole together, and you've had all kinds of guests on here, and you had Kamala here. It's big, and you will look back. God only knows where it's going to take all of us in the next 20 years, but 20 years, if God is good and you're still moving, you'll look back if you're not doing this anymore, and you'll have a deep connection and a deep connection. Okay, that's how I feel about Stephen A. and Shannon. We went to, I don't want to say war, we went to battle together every day. And listen, Shannon just showed up for work, man. He came. He's extremely competitive, and I am crazy competitive. And so we went at it in different, authentic ways than Stephen A. and I did, because Stephen A., he takes it seriously, but there's showmanship involved with Stephen A. that is fun to watch. With Shannon and I, trust me, it got seriously, you sat out there.
I've watched you prepare for a show. Skip, and my boy say right there, it is intense watching Skip prepare for a show. It's like it's just as intense as getting ready for a basketball game, bro. It's super intense.
Well, that's my basketball game.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys saw the beginning of that clip when Skip and Steven Jackson talking about Shannon's Unc character. It's funny how these two had issues with it. Stax had Shannon on his podcast a few years back, and I don't recollect him ever bringing that up to Shannon's face. That said, Shannon playing up that Unc character really did help his brand and his image on the show. After he started doing all those bits with the Black and Mild and Hennessy, those clips all went viral, and honestly, his stock went up after that. Fans of the show were just eating up that bit, so I don't blame him in any way for doing that character. It's no different than the character Stephen A. Smith plays on his first take with his over-the-top reactions and yelling on the TV screen. Nonetheless, I'm not too sure why Skip had so much of an issue with Shannon playing that character because it did wonders for their ratings. But maybe it's because that's when he started to notice Shannon's influence on the show starting to overshadow his own. It's pretty obvious who came out on top after their split. Shannon has been crushing it on First Take and his 2 podcasts, while Skip recently got the boot from FS1 and his podcast hasn't really taken off yet. Anyways, guys, what do you think about Stax and Skip clowning Shannon for his Unc character?